Okay, thank you for coming, Jonas. And we are in this week. We are discussing about the money. So you are studying money with the topic of feces standard money. I'm not sure you stick to that and you change your topic. But so please explain a little more, because you have a better English than me and you think more. You've been thinking more about the money.
Hello everybody. First of all, my name is Jonas, and nice to meet you. I think I know some faces. I have some friends here, but I also don't know some of you. So as you already said, I'm the TA for this class. Even though you don't see me, I'm in the shadow, and I will be looking at your work really closely. So make sure you do, really good work, especially your assignments. But when I came to ScienceWalden, originally I had come to study music, because as you know, ScienceWalden is a center for convergence of science and arts. But I also heard about fSM. Does anybody know the full meaning, fSM? Extra points. Okay, I can't do that one. I can't do that one. I'm not the professor, so sorry about that. So fSM is basically feces standard money. And the feces and the standard and money. So I'm guessing the name itself should give you an idea of what fSM is. Because originally we had a gold standard. I think everybody knows that, right? If you know a little bit about the history of money, we had a gold standard, and basically, banks had to have an amount of gold somewhere, and that shows that I can issue you some amount of money in place of that gold. So it's just like a little piece of paper, like an IOU. And then, fast forward, it went, and then the gold standard was kind of kicked out, and now we just have like paper money. And I think if we look in our current situation, one thing that's very, very important is labor, work. Everybody has to work before they can eat. That's why we're all here, right? We're trying to study hard, get good grades, get a job in maybe Samsung or Hyundai or SK, and then we can also get paid. And I think in the current society, if you don't work, it kind of looks like you can't really eat. And so then what is more important? Is it us, the human being, or is it just the money and, the work? So I think essentially fSM is a new, complementary currency. It's complementary because we're using it side by side with the official currency of any city or any, country. So basically it's not like coming to take away the Korean won and it's like just spend all the fSM. That's not it. But essentially the whole idea behind fSM is that we want to create new value from feces. Now, most of the time we wake up and we just go use the bathroom, use the toilet, and then we just flash it and it's gone. We never think about it. However, everybody knows that, we can get biogas from feces. And so feces is kind of, valuable. And there's a lot of things also in our lives that, we don't have value for. We always think, oh, this is not important. I buy some new coat, I wear it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then it's not valuable anymore. And so if we look around us, there's so many things that are valuable that we throw away. And all that also goes back to feed into the system, because we have to keep buying and we have to keep spending and we have to keep working to make the same money that we're going to throw away at some point. And so basically fSM is trying to teach us to look more into ourselves and to ask ourselves, what are some valuable things that we're not utilizing? And the first one is feces. And so why feces standard money? Because if we make a new currency from feces, then everybody can, be able to contribute to it, right? Because at least we all use the toilet. Anybody here who doesn't go to the toilet? Right? So in this situation, we can look at a new form of social welfare where, everybody is able to contribute, or at least is able to embody this sort of social welfare system. Now, I'm sure you know about a lot of other complementary currencies that have been created. There's, I don't know which ones. Do you know any other complementary currencies? Anybody knows about any other currency, alternative currency? No? Nobody? Nobody's interested in alternative currencies? Okay, so there's a lot of alternative currencies that have been created. Some are like a time bank, which is like when you work a little bit, then you'll basically get a currency, but based in the amount of time that you use. So it's like pumashi in Korean. I think there's like this thing called pumashi, right? And also in no one they have a currency that they use, but most of these currencies are just, you know, currencies. The only the difference between ours and theirs is that we feel that every human being is able to produce feces, and every human being embodies that. And starting from feces, everybody can be able to look within themselves and say, I have something that I can share with everybody else. And so to talk more about fSM, basically how fSM works is that every day when you wake up, you get 10 gur. Gur is the currency of fSM, and gur means honey, right? And so if you wake up every day, there's a basic income fSM. That's everybody's entitled to that because you're alive. We believe that once you're living, you should be able to, you know, get some amount of gur. And then there's also another 10 gur that you get from using the ScienceWalden toilet, right? So basically the ScienceWalden Center also designed a water-saving toilet that uses about 500 milliliters of water to flush. And you know that's also a big problem because the flushing toilet also wastes a lot of water. And so basically that toilet is a water-saving toilet. And so after you use that toilet, you basically get 10 gur. So there's an app, and then essentially you just wake up and then you use that toilet and scan or something, QR code, and then it all comes to you. But then currently the toilet is still under development. And so now we're very much focused on basic income fSM. And so a lot of people ask us a question like, why do we think we should give everybody basic income fSM? Like, where's the money coming from? You can't just give away free money. Well, it's true, right? We can't give away free money, but just as feces is a valuable thing, or let's say a useful thing that we're not utilizing, there's also so many other useful things that we're not utilizing right now. For example, at the end of the semester, some of us use textbooks, and then at the end of the semester, you can't sell the textbook. Nobody's trying to buy it, or you don't want to sell it. You want to give it away, right? Sometimes at the end of the semester, when I see you in Tapanda, there's like so many things there. People are like, free, just pick it up. Some people just say it's in front of 307 dorm. Anybody who wants it can take it. There's so many things that we have that, you know, example, I want to print from A2 paper. And I ask you, can you please print it for me? I can't pay you back, right? But these little things are, you know, sort of valuable things that we don't really take money for. However, if we use school as a currency to be able to, you know, share. And so the main important idea for fSM is sharing. We want to create a community where everybody feels like everybody else is part of it. It's an inclusive community. Everybody is part of it. So we want to share amongst each other. So does anybody have anything they want to share today? Anything? Anything? Nobody? Can I give extra points for that one? Okay, no, but so the most important thing is, you know, if you want to share anything, be it, you know, your money, be it volunteer hours, be it clothes, things that you don't use, we can use fSM as this basic income because everybody is entitled to it and everybody can produce some amount of it. And so essentially, when you receive the 10 gur every day, what happens is we also want to ensure that people use the currency. And so there's a depreciation, which is a 30% depreciation. It depreciates by 7%, sorry. It depreciates by 7% every day. So when you have the 10 gur in your app and then you're not using it, I think at the end of the month, it's all gone. And so the most important thing is for you to be able to use it. So these are mainly the features in fSM that we believe embodies, you know, humanity and community and what it means to, you know, live with one another and share with one another. And so I think essentially that is mainly fSM. And if anybody has any questions, first of all, you can ask in terms of that. Any questions? Okay.
Does it mean that everyone can get rich equally?
Well, you see, the point is not to get rich, right? So I think money was created because of people's desires to get richer. That's how I think. And from some texts that I've read, it looks like that. And so that's why current systems are geared at making some people very, very rich, because companies need to keep selling so that their shareholders get richer. But following that system, it doesn't look like the world is going to be a better place anytime soon. We keep taking, like we have to make new things, and so we keep cutting down trees, making more books to sell, making all these things to sell. And the whole point is for that type of money, which is conventional money, is to make people rich. But this is not something to make people rich. This is something to ensure that everybody is included. Those who are not working, those who are under the poverty line. And it's not even about that. It's about getting people to actually think about community and sharing, and bringing everybody else into the community, and making sure that social welfare is sort of taken care of. So it's not to make anybody rich. And I don't think you can get rich from fSM. Even Professor Cho cannot get rich from fSM, even though, this was mainly his idea. But nobody can get rich from fSM. Basically, it's about enriching the community, in a sense. Any other questions?
Could you let me know, I think in case of fSM, although it is viewed as a standard money, but actually we have to keep the money for maintenance costs, right? How to solve this kind of problem?
Maintenance of fSM?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we believe in sharing, not donation, but sharing. Because currently, I think a lot of people have so much, and a lot of people have so little. So that's why we believe that by getting people to understand the concept that, you have to share, then it will be possible. Because of course it is going to take a lot of money to, get fSM to become, a worldwide phenomenon. But it starts from each and every person. If today I am at least willing to share something with somebody, then it's one step in a positive direction. So essentially that is what it's about. Any other questions?
Jonas, we actually proposed this concept for the first time in the world, but not fixed yet and not complete yet.
Yeah.
So do you think we have what kind of a job, what kind of a scope or norms and principle do we have to add to this fSM, do you think?
Well, I mean, in terms of, that's why when we always say it's under development. But I think in terms of scopes and jobs, there will be so many things that we need to put in place to make fSM a success. Because first of all, when we only look at it from the basic standard, like a basic income perspective, then it becomes harder, because then we have questions like, how do we get money to support it? First of all, the whole idea is to also be able to use, to produce energy from the feces. And so that is one angle that we will need a lot of structures in place to be able to do that. If we're able to do that, then it becomes a little bit more of an investment and then a self-sustaining system. But on the side of basic income as well, I think for that it's more about education and being able to, get people involved as much as possible. Because, you can put in a lot of structures in place, but if people are not ready to accept it, then it becomes, a really difficult system to accept. And so personally, I think at this point in time, since we have this class, I think starting from this class and getting this class to be able to at least design and contribute to it, because it's not going to be just Professor Cho or me, putting all of this together and then it's going to be a success. I think everybody in this class and every idea counts. And so everybody in this class should also endeavor to contribute. So that's why these assignments are very important, not for the grades, but for fSM. So I think we should definitely think about those things and getting a lot of people involved and getting a lot of ideas involved.
So also the blockchain, including the Bitcoin, I don't know who, but they developed a scheme and a principle to minimize the control, the power of the centralized system. So how do you think we can actually to put those logic of blockchain into this fSM?
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
Well, so blockchain is a very touchy subject because the people who, the early developers of blockchain actually intended for it to become a decentralized, system where everybody is able to contribute. But the problem is when we look at blockchain today, it's become just an investment scheme. A lot of people in the blockchain space, I also invested in blockchain last year, and I just did it because I heard Bitcoin was rising and a lot of people were becoming millionaires. So I thought, let me also buy some Bitcoin. And so I think the ideas are great, but however, implementation has been very one-sided because now it's just an investment scheme. And so talking about that in terms of how, fSM is being developed, if we look at a lot of the blockchains, there's a pre-mine, which is like they create some coins for the founder because they say we need money to keep it up. So then they create some coins for the people who founded it. And in the end, it's just like a company. It's not any different because the owners essentially end up becoming just as rich as everybody else. However, we also need some amount of decentralization in, fSM, because then if there's a central body that is controlling everything, then it doesn't serve the right purpose. So of course, it's still a balance, and currently FSM is not based on a blockchain, it's a centralized system. However, I think going forward, we need to be able to look at a situation where, we are also able to decentralize it so that it's not all sitting in one person's server and then it's only that person that's controlling it. I think the advantages of blockchain that make it great for these kind of systems is that not only one person is doing it. Even if we're not here, the system still survives because everybody's contributing to keeping it together. So I think that's also one thing that we would have to look at going forward. And I think decentralization is very important for any currency. Yeah.
Other questions from the floor? Comment?
fSM is given whenever we use toilet,
Mm-hmm.
but not everyone uses toilet in the same frequency. So some people earn more fSM than other people.
Well, that's true. That is true. That's a very good point. But essentially, it's life is generally unfair. First of all, we all don't have the same amount of money. All of us here, some people might be super rich, we're not that rich. But I think essentially it's not about becoming rich. I think the problem we have that problem coming up when you look at it like I'm trying to become rich from FSM. I think because it's based, and that's why there's also the basic income FSM that everybody receives every day. And so there's, it's able to sort of balance it out. But I think the most important thing that I want everybody to take home from this small talk that I gave here is that it's not about becoming rich, but it's about creating a new kind of economy that is driven by sharing. And so if I'm driven by sharing with other people, I will not mind if, today I didn't go to the toilet, but my friend went to the toilet and he had 10 go more than me because essentially I'm sharing. And if I have less, my friend will probably still be able to share with me. And so I think that's the most important point about FSM is that it's not based on, trying to make people rich. It's about making sure that we all live in a community and in a society where, we're self-sufficient and we're self-fulfilled because you believe that other people are going to share with you. And also, just in that sense, I think I forgot to mention that in the fSM system, every day you're supposed to share 3 out of your 10 goal with other people. I think maybe they've heard about that already. But you have to share 3 out of the 10 goal with other people. And so I think that helps us to keep other people in our minds. You know, I'm going to send him 10 goal, even though maybe I don't know him, or I met him only once, or I'm going to send my friend there 1 goal. And so essentially it's just about sharing and not about making anybody rich or giving people more money than anybody else. Yes.
Okay, following your comment, and if you and one of you reach so many persons to be connected, so that you can actually get the money good in the morning, so you can be rich actually. So if you have a franchise for us to use our good to buy something to get service, and then you can be rich.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Even, yeah, so rich is not everything, of course, but the sharing is important. But I'd like to actually mention and point out we need the motivation. So money can give us a lot of motivation, so then of course we can be rich. But you have to consider this period, so this period rate. So you can handle this data, the flow of the fSM, so you can control everything, and then you can design your platform to get this money to be rich in the digital society.
oh yeah. I mean, if they can, then sure.
Yeah, sure.
If you can, of course, every system is you know, not fail-proof. So if you can definitely create a system for yourself where you end up accumulating gold from everybody, and in the class everybody sends you their gold, then of course that's definitely something that could
To
happen.
get A,
Yeah.
grade of A, and rich as well.
Yeah.
Any other last questions? Yes.
Actually, in terms of sharing, means that we have to know the other person each other, right? But actually, we don't know the whole experience. So here's my questions about that. If I just know one friend, then I will always give 3 goals out of 10 to my friends. So it's gonna be like same, like staying.
You mean in this class?
Yes.
Well, so I don't know exactly the system that is going to be implemented in this class, but when it comes to,
Same as.
okay, so when it comes to the general Google system, right, you could decide to send it to, you know, the same person every time, and that's not, you know, I don't think anybody's going to hold you accountable for that. However, it is also, you know, very expected that a lot of people are going to at least send it to a parent, or because we don't live alone, right? So in a general Google system, right, you don't live alone, you have family, you have other people, you have more than one friend. So you could decide to send it to one friend, and that's fine. But however, the system is such a way that you should be able to send it to more than one person, because then we think that you know more than one person. So I think it's just the motivation, and why you're only going to send it to one person. It's also possible, but we're definitely expecting that people are going to send it to more than one person, because it's a, you know, it's a connection. And you know, instead of you sending it to one person, you could send it to another person and also get gold back from that person, right? Instead of keeping your options so limited. So it's just kind of game theory in a sense, right? Everybody's trying to do something that's going to maximize their rewards in some sense, if you get what I'm saying. But in this class, let's say in this class, right, you're going to be sending it. Now that you've said it, then we have to put some rule in place so that in a small community setting where people don't know each other, we could say, you know, you can't send your goal to only one person, but that's something that we'd have to think about to see.
With the game in this class, so everyone can write to advertise yourself to get good out of your colleagues. So in the morning you attach your appeal. For example, my score up to now is very low. I need some good from you, so please give me good, because I need good for some reason, so you can actually appeal to your colleagues with the contents why you need this school out of your colleagues, or you actually introduce one of your colleagues who suffer from the lower grade, and but you know he or she is studying very hard. You know that, but grade is low relatively, so you can actually introduce her or him to other colleagues in this class for her and him to get more shared good colleagues. So for example, that's the only guideline. So there are, as he mentioned, so we have a game, so very, very cool game, so that we can share our philosophy, how we survive under the harsh condition of the society digitally. That's why I ask you to give me and give Jonas the comment, how we renovate, how we change our class game every time. That's possible.
Actually, in real life, everyone gets the different number. But is there any reason why we always have the 10 rules every day use every day?
Is there any?
Like communism
This is not a communist system. Well, because that's why we said that there's two, right? So there's the basic income FSM and also the FSM where you use the toilet, right? And so one is based on merit in a sense, right? And one is based on just, it's just given. So you can look at the 10 goal in that sense as the one that's just given every day. However, there's also the 10 goal where that goal is based on merit because you have to use the toilet before you get that amount of goal. And so, of course, it's true that, you know, everybody gets different amount of money in real life. But then if we also look at that situation, if we keep following everything in real life, then we cannot change anything, right? It's just like if you keep solving the same problems with the same, you know, solutions, then you're not going to get any different results. And so essentially that's why we're looking at a situation where basically 10 goal, which is basic income, because we believe that everybody deserves some net, you know, like base. And then on top of that, there's also the other FSM, which is the one you get from the toilet, which is based more on merit in a sense.
So there are concepts of basic income in society. So people been proposing to the society, even under capitalism's ideology. So there are big controversy about the reason I believe the basic reason for them to propose this basic income is to give a person freedom. So this is basic to survive. And with those conditions, you can have a freedom to do everything. So otherwise, you always stick to enterprise and other system to survive, to make money. Okay. So with this basic income, even if those are relatively small, then we have freedom to do what we really want to do for our lives in the society. Okay. So that's why we give exactly the same amount of good to the persons. So we keep this discussion. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much, Jonas. Thank you.